had the pre-starting meetup, you know, where everybody gets together for the first time, where there's always a lot of hype. We got the 14-hour journey tomorrow morning. It's going to be rough, but you know, I'm just hoping to watch Netflix for the whole time. It's got to be done. Let's do it. So we finally just got done with our journey. I said it was going to be rough, but it ended up a lot more than just being rough. Just before we got to our hotel in Balakot, we found that there was actually a landslide which prevented us from crossing, and it wasn't cleared until I think about 4 or 5 a.m. So we actually stayed in that area, just kind of hanging around in the car in the area, probably from like 8 p.m. until 4 a.m. So that was certainly an experience, and then because of that we didn't end up staying in the hotel in Balakot. We just went straight into the next day's journey. So now that we're here in Talashing, we've probably been doing like 30 hours of driving and on the road. So it's pretty crazy. I'm glad to be here, but as you can see, the view behind me is just amazing. It makes it all worth it, to be honest. So I'm just really looking forward to tomorrow, day one. It's going to be amazing. Setting off, day number one. We just finished day number one of trekking, and behind me you can see the Nanga Parbat mountain. So I can't point to it because I can't see myself right now, but just the highest point in the horizon behind me, that's Nanga Parbat, and so that is around 8,200 meters tall, and also behind me is the Rupal face. So the significance of that is that it is the single tallest cliff face in the world. So from where the cliff face begins to the top, it is around 4,000 to 4,500 meters. Now we're not going to be climbing the whole of Nanga Parbat just because it's way too dangerous. It is nicknamed Death Mountain because around 1 in 3 people do die when trying to peak it. So we're just going to be going to around 5,400 meters, which is the Muzena Ridge. So it's the beginning of day 3 now. Yesterday was pretty good. It was a reasonably easy day. It was just like I think between 4 or 5 hours. So now we're at I think around 3,500 meters. It was quite a nice day though. The first half was glacier walking, so that was really nice. Saw some like massive crevices and things like that. Then the second half of yesterday, the terrain just completely changed. You know, we kind of came round a mountain, and then suddenly you see this lush greenery, these streams flowing everywhere, these cows calmly grazing, and horses and goats. It was, I think if I had to describe it, it was just very kind of dreamlike, just coming round and then suddenly going from rocks and glaciers to suddenly seeing that. So that was a really nice day. So now we're just about to set off for day number 3. Today is the first of our harder days, so we're going to be doing 2 stages today. So that means we're going to be doing like 7-8 hours of walking. I'm not sure how high in altitude we're going to get to, but to be honest, I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy the challenge. That's part of the reason that I come to do these treks, so it should be good. So we're at Camp 3 now, 4,200 meters, which is my record. I've only done one trek in the past, which was the Rwenzori Mountains in Uganda, and for that we only managed to get to 4,000 meters, so it's definitely nice to have broken my record already. I'm really exhausted, I've got to be honest. Got to the camp a few hours ago, and since then just been dead, been barely able to move, to be honest. The day itself was really good. The views we got, the variation in terrain was fantastic. We saw some beautiful snowy mountaintops, some massive white glaciers, some huge fast-flowing rivers which we had to cross, as you saw in the video. So it was really, definitely a fantastic day, and I think that's what I would say about the trek so far in general, is that the variation in terrain has been fantastic. It's been so interesting. Like my brother and dad did a trek in K2 to K2 Basecamp, and they've said that it was very much just rocky and then obviously ice at the top, whereas this, I think there's been a lot more variation, which has been fantastic. And so the plan for tomorrow is going to the Mazeno Pass. So I need to correct myself from earlier in the video. I said we're going to the Mazeno Ridge. That's definitely not true, because that I think is above 7,000 meters. Not doing that. So yeah, we're going to the pass, which is 5,400 meters high, which means a 1,200 climb up and then down in one day. So we're going to be waking up at like 4 a.m. to start that, to ensure that we get back to the camp before it gets dark. And to be honest, I'm quite intimidated by the thought of tomorrow, like walking for 12 hours and you know, doing the 1,200 meter ascent and then descent. I've never done anything like that before, because as I mentioned, the only trek I've done was in Uganda, and I think the maximum we walked was probably like 8-9 hours. So yeah, I am kind of intimidated, but hopefully it goes well. Yeah, hopefully I make it. Hopefully this isn't just like the end of the video because I didn't make it or anything like that, but yeah, hopefully it goes well. Dad, how are you feeling about today?
Feeling very good.
Mm-hmm.
It was half an hour of intense climbing.
Yeah. So it's been re-estimated from 12 hours of climbing to 15 to 18. How do you feel about that?
Terrifying.
Should be good.
Hopefully we can do it.
Yep, hopefully.
Inshallah. We've done this very quickly. In half an hour we were up.
Alright. Thanks, Dad.
On schedule, man.
Yep.
On the way to Mazera Pass.
Yeah. We didn't end up actually making the peak that we intended to. We made it up to maybe 5,300 meters high, but in the end, the estimated climb that we were to do on that day was pretty significantly understated. In the end, our intended peak point was probably around 5,600, 5,700 meters high. We didn't end up making it because just because of time constraints. Were we to go up to that peak point, and I think we were about 2 hours walk shy of it, the journey back would have had to have been in dark after sunset, which, given the terrain we were walking on, was just too dangerous, particularly in the middle bit for quite a large stretch. We were rock hopping on some very unstable boulders, and that was difficult enough as it was during the day. It was really, really mentally challenging actually, but I think doing that in dark would have been far too dangerous, and somebody would definitely have injured themselves. It's a shame that we didn't make it to the top. Of course, to not hit that objective which you set out to do from the beginning, it's definitely it's frustrating, but I am still really proud that I made it above that 5,000 meters, because I hadn't done so before. On the only other trek I've been on got to around 4,000 meters, so I'm really glad that we managed to surpass the 5-0 mark. In terms of the trek as a whole, I suppose I might as well summarize. It was a brilliant trek. There's really, it's hard to put it into words once you've come back, but it was absolutely beautiful. The variety of terrain and scenery day to day was phenomenal. You went from a complete rocky area to glaciers, to white snow, to lush green with cows and horses grazing next to you. And I think that was definitely one of the best things about the trek, was that literally day to day, or even within the same day, there was so much variety that it just kept everything so interesting. And so from that perspective, I would definitely recommend this trek to anybody and everybody. It's beautiful, it's challenging, it was just perfect really. And as a Pakistani who's never actually lived in Pakistan, I've only been once or twice before, the trek really made me fall in love with my country and my people, as cheesy as that sounds. Like one incident which
particularly sticks with me, and I always tell the story now that we're back. It's just about, some of our team members. There was one incident when I was walking back to the campsite, and two of our porters they invited me in, and I said no, I'll go back to the campsite, and as is customary in South Asian tradition, they insisted, so I came in. They shared their biryani with me, and we just had a chat about our lives and our background. And obviously my Urdu is not great, so it was a bit of a struggle, but it was just such a nice, down to earth chat. Like we're from such different backgrounds. I'm living in London and they're living in very rural Pakistan, and yet you're able to just sit down together and talk as if there's no distance between you at all, and I love that. And after that, with these two guys, every time I would see them again, later in the trek, they would just give me the warmest smile ever, and it was just really nice. Our team members were absolutely lovely. Our guide, or our 3-4 guides, were just such sweet, kind, sincere people, and I think that might have been my favorite thing of the trek, is just that we were surrounded by wonderful, wonderful human beings. So I'm really, really grateful that I got to go. And as I said, without a shadow of a doubt, I would recommend this trek to everybody. No matter what your fitness level is, you can train up and do it, but it's worth it. You'll remember it for the rest of your life. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.
Hello, Dad.
Hey man,
How are you?
I'm enjoying the ride. Man.
Cool, man.
Very nice. Very enjoying.
How does it feel?
It's good, man. I can do the whole trek on this.
Nice, man. You feel liberated?
Right?
You feel liberated?
Yeah, I feel like royalty, man.
What's your message to Mum?
No message. I'm enjoying it.
All right. Thanks, Dad.